Hi, this is Sara Levin, the Artful Inker and independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today is the March Global Stampin' Video Hop. Our theme for March is Spring Flowers, and before I turn the camera around and we get to the crafting, I'd just like to say that I hope everybody's not going too stir-crazy, that you're home and well, and that maybe we'll all be out of I'm going to call it house arrest soon. So let's flip this camera around and get to some crafting for today. For today's card, I've created this kind of 3D Kwanzan Cherry branch for the card we're going to create. So let me set this aside and we'll begin creating. For today's card, we'll be using the Parisian Blossoms stamp set and the Cherry Blossoms die, as well as the Parisian Flourish 3D embossing folder and the Parisian Blossoms designer paper. All of these are part of the Parisian Blossoms suite in the mini catalog. So we're going to start with this lovely branching floral here, and I'm going to take just a little of your time to show you I colored, but I'm not going to color the whole thing. You don't need to see that. I'm using Blushing Bride and the side of my brush tip so that I don't tear it up with my stamp texture, and then come in with Pear Pizzazz on the leaves. For your purposes, you will want to color the whole thing. I'm, as mentioned, only coloring part. Forgot these little blossoms up here at the top. They're also Blushing Bride. And then a little soft suede for the stem bits down through here. And then we're going to pick that up. I'm going to pull it to me off camera and huff on it really good. And then stamp. As I said, I didn't color the whole thing because I think you'll get the idea. So then you get this image with all of this stamped bits. I'm coming in with my light petal pink and light rococo rose to color the buds here at the top. Just want to put in a little detail color and then bring it around with the light petal pink. You'll notice if you look at the trees that or even blossoms in the garden, the buds are a slightly different color than the flowers are, so I went with that idea. Okay, and then I've come around just the edges of these with some of this color so it's not as white and just blend this out a little bit and soften it. This is not going to make a lot of difference at the end product. It does get hidden, but it just doesn't have a white edge then. And I tried this with the Blushing Bride Stampin' Right marker, and I didn't like the color as well. So I'm using the Stampin' Blends instead. I like the effect that it gave. So again, we're not fully coloring. That's enough for our purposes. And then you're going to want to take your Pear Pizzazz ink pad then and stamp a couple of these single leaves and a couple of the double leaves, and then use the cherry blossom dies to cut out the large stem and all of your single leaves. Let me put these aside. And then let's see, we have the single blossom here and my Blushing Bride ink and a piece of Blushing Bride cardstock. I'm patting a couple of times because I've just re-inked my pad and not sure how much ink I have. I'm just going to cut this out quickly. There is a die for this if you prefer. Fussy cutting works just fine for what we're going to do. Almost done here. Then I'm going to flip this over, and there's one little pointed petal and one little pointed petal. This is not an exact science. It's close enough counts. You just get a little texture on that back side then. And here's my bone folder, and we're going to soften up the fibers in the cardstock. And I'm going to say about a half a dozen times pulling this over. Let me pull this up where I can see it a little better. And the paper just splits and pulls apart. And then we're going to stamp the back sides again. It just gives it a little more visual texture when we put these together. And again, close enough is good enough for this. Okay. You will need 4 or 5 flowers that you've stamped, cut out, separated, and then stamped. And then we're going to crumple these and put multi-purpose glue on the back side and then fit these together. My spring flower for today's global stamping video hop are the Kwanzan Cherry trees. They are an absolute favorite of mine. Okay, so once you cut out your stem, you've got these little blossoms and your leaves that you've stamped and die cut. And your leaves, you're just going to take your fingers and give them a little bit of a squeeze and a turn here so that they've got some dimension. And you're going to place your blossoms with just a tiny bit of multi-purpose glue on the stem here and overlap them. If you've seen Kwanzan cherry trees, they're very full and frilly with their blossoms. In fact, as they drop their petals in the spring, it looks like it has snowed pink. Okay, so there's the idea. Here is the finished stem. You're going to have a Blushing Bride base, a piece of Whisper White. This is 4 by 5 1/4. I've used my Stampin' Spritzer, spritz the cardstock with alcohol, and then run it through my die cutting machine with the Parisian Flourish 3D embossing folder and the 3D embossing plate for some great texture. I don't know if you can see this on camera. We're going to use our multi-purpose glue to adhere this piece. Okay, and then I have this piece of the Parisian Blossoms designer paper. It's cut at 1.5 by 5 1/2, so it will overlap the white piece at the top and the bottom. Oof. Sorry for the shaking. I've got a pinched nerve in my hand, and holding the little pieces is not making everybody happy. Okay, then I want to add dimensionals to the back of this piece. The bleed through from the markers is normal. Okay, and I've even got some, let's see, if you wanted to, you could add some mini dimensionals up here behind these little buds. Let's stick this on, and we're going to swing it across the card here. And now we need a sentiment. Going to stamp that on crumb cake, in crumb cake. And my favorite kind of card is a just because card, so the sentiment friend is perfect for that. Leave a little bit here at the back, or the front, if I'm spelling right, since we read from right to left. I keep thinking I've gotten the stamp upside down or backwards. Okay. And then I've got my classic label punch here. And let's get that in there straight, since I didn't stamp straight. And use my scissors. And I just want to nip off the end here. Okay, let's put my ink out of the way and close up the punch. And then I've got some of this beautiful Rococo Rose gathered ribbon. It's almost like it's got a little copper metallic in there. And I'm going to cut, I'm going to say this is about 6 inches, and put tear and tape on the back. And then we're going to give this a little ruffle. And just by folding it in on itself and holding it as you go, the tape will adhere it to itself. Oops. And to your fingers. Not that it will leave your fingers a sticky mess. It's just a little grabby. And I think I'm going to cut this off here. We'll see. We'll give it one more. I don't want it to be the full length. Yeah. Cut that off. And then I'm going to add another piece of tear and tape right across the back, just to help hold all of those little ruffles together. Okay. And oh, can't quite slide my fingernail under the backing sheet. Okay, and straighten that out. And then I'm going to add glue dots to this piece and adhere it over the ribbon. So just touch a couple of those on here. And then roll this right in behind, like so. And then we'll stick this whole piece down. Want to line it up on the edge here. And then, where did I put my pearls? Here they are, right here in front of me. And my scissors. And we're going to pop up just a couple of pearls here to give a little accent. And there we go. So our Forever Blossoms Kwanzan Cherry card for today's Global Stampin' Video Hop. The links are in the video description below. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then check out the other videos today for more spring flower inspiration. And then hop on over to my blog, theartfullinker.com, for more creations and for all of your Stampin' Up! Products. Thanks. This was Sara Levin, the Artful Inker. Bye. Have a great day.